We welcome at CNN Greece Claudio Locatelli, Italian journalist who is going to report to us live from the Ukrainian capital Kyiv. He has been there since the first day of the Russian invasion. Claudio, hello, first of all. Can you tell me what the status is right now? What's the situation in the city? We know that Kyiv is surrounded, but how far are the Russian troops actually?
Good afternoon. We have been this morning on the eastern part of the capital, 30 kilometers far from the center, where we spotted Russian tanks that actually were much more closer than we were expecting. We were heading forward to the front line to watch the situation, to analyze the situation, when we spotted this tank. This, together with another one, was captured by the Ukrainian troops and it was left over there. So the eastern part of Kiev is the eastern side of Kiev has seen a huge, massive presence of Russian, but they are still far away. So the capital is not yet surrounded. We have been also in the north yesterday, and they are around 25 kilometers from the center. And everyone has been aware about Bucha is Irpin. These two names became worldwide famous due to the recent attack with a mortar that killed a family. So that was the northwest side. At the moment, the Russia are on the west side, on the northwest, on the northeast and the east. The south gate of the capital are still free and still open. Obviously, the checkpoints are everywhere in the capital.
Describe us what civilians are facing in the battle areas. What are the people actually doing? Is the city still functional? Are there enough food and medical supplies in the grocery stores and pharmacies? How is the refueling done? Are the people actually moving? And can you still hear sirens in the capital, air defense sirens? And what happens then?
There is a lack of food, but the food is still present. There are a few groceries and market shop where you can buy food that are still open, but majorly outside the center. The real problem is the gasoline, so the way to fuel the car. So there are really few cars moving around, and especially in this area, there are a bit more than the rest, but there are still really few. So this is the main problem. Medicine, regarding the medicine, there are only few of citizens try to supply medicine to themselves or their family. So the main problem is being the queue the day for hours to find something that used to be normal. The capital is still functioning, obviously not 100%, and many citizens are left the town. But many others decide to organize themselves in the civil guard and start to recreate outposts like in the Second World War. The food is very interesting because some supply of the food come from the trains. What I mean, there are people in Poland that send food literally on the passengers trains. The trains arrive in the main station of Kiev and the people are loading the supply. So this is a peculiar way to provide food for the capital.
How many civilians are left in the capital actually? We just read that less than 2 million have left, are still in the capital. Is that true?
It's difficult to say, to confirm or not, but definitely that's a number that can be closer to reality.
People are trying to evacuate the bombarded parts of Kyiv, like Irpin, Bucha, and elsewhere, and there were reported fatalities as well. There is a big network of volunteers trying to help. Can you tell us about the evacuation process? Is it going any further? And tell us about the obstacles met on the way.
Me, my cameraman, we have been inside Irpin and Bucha, and we crossed the destroyed bridge where, as you see worldwide, the imaging of the evacuation. We find an evacuation car to follow the operation, to go inside the town to check the civilians. When we do that the first time, we have been shelled by Russians with mortars, but mortars survived. And we try again another time, but there was a shooting between the Ukrainian and the Russian. until we succeed to enter in the town with an evacuation car. That we spotted the Russian tanks close to a desert body. So this is the situation in that area. The ceasefire in the north worked with the humanitarian corridor, but unfortunately on the northwest, it has been repeatedly violated. This is the situation.
Had they thought that it was going to last for so long? How are they trying to get prepared?
Old people and disabled people are the people that remain inside Bucha and Irpin. It's more difficult to evacuate them. On one side, because they don't want to leave the town where they are living. On the other side is a technical problem. But the majority of the people are left. They left Irpin and Bucha. The remaining one are self-organizing civil guard. But actually, the majority of the civil guard positions are inside Kiev, so directly in the town, and not more in Bucha and Irpin. When we were looking at the people coming out from the most affected area, we could see at the beginning in their faces the motivation to be back, the beliefs that soon they will be back. But in the last few days, we could see clearly that the faces were changing, and the majority of the people were crying. And you can read on their face that the idea of be back seems a lost cause, and they feel like they are leaving their home forever. Many media have broadcast the idea that this is not a fast war like it's supposed to be. But actually, if you remember the Second World War, it took 3 weeks to the Nazi to enter in Poland. We are still at the second week. And the Russians are really going fast, as I mentioned to you. So it's still early to realize if this was a fast war or not, if the resistance was effectively working or not, in my opinion.
Is there a terror feeling among the citizens? There are reports of paramilitary troops trying to prevent them from leaving and keep them hostages. Obviously, people are frightened, and they also don't trust the humanitarian corridors.
Actually, I don't know where it comes to this information. We have seen no media try to force the people to stay inside. Actually, we have seen the opposite. We have seen many civilian guard and military try to help the people. We also recorded them to bring outside a civilian from the area more affected. There is a fear regarding the humanitarian corridor. They thought and they think they can be violated by the Russian. This actually has already happened many times. But to be honest, we have to puntualize, to stress the concept that it's difficult to understand when a violation comes from the Russian or when a violation is an increasing fire between Ukrainian and Russian.
It's already the second week of the Russian invasion, and it is heard that the worst is yet to come. There is a big fight coming. Is everybody preparing for the big fight? Do they know when it is going to happen? And is there still a high morale? What is your perception of what is going to happen? Is there going to be a continuous siege of the capital, or is it going to fall eventually? What do you think the Russians are trying to do?
These days are crucial for the future of the war. The next round of negotiation could determine the end of the war, the peace, or could lead to the worst part of the war. If the negotiation is going to fail, what is going to happen is the Russian will push as much as they can in order to bring back at the table of the negotiation Zelensky, the Ukrainian president. So we are going to see what is going to happen.
Are there Russian-speaking people who are in favor of a Russian-backed government?
Obviously, there are some supporters of the Russian, but the large majority of the citizens in Kiev are struggling to protect their land, their country, their army. We know that there are a few supporters of the Russian in the eastern side of the country, especially in the Donetsk and Lugansk area, the so-called Donbass region. The most important point and moment was when we were over the bridge, exactly where the family was killed by the mortar few days ago. The moment we were trying to record the situation to understand what was happening before, they started to shell again against us. And it was obvious that they knew that was a humanitarian corridor. They knew that was the way where the majority of the citizens were leaving the town. But despite of this, they were shooting.
I want to thank you very much for being with us, and take care, please. Be careful over there.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Stanno continuando a bombardare. Facciamo dei cadaveri stamattina. Siamo a Irpin, continuano a bombardare.